Hello everyone, welcome to the Pokeball YouTube channel. My name is Dan Spielvogel. I am the second half of the Pokeball YouTube channel. I am the bull part of the Pokeball channel because I am a graduate of the University of South Florida. That's right. And before I begin, I got to shout out to the University of South Florida and their men's basketball team, what they have done so far this season. They were picked ninth in the preseason. They have won the American Conference regular season title, and they are a 15-1, a 14-game winning streak, which is the longest in the entire country. They've won 20 of their last 21 games. They have probably one of the most exciting rosters that you have seen. They play a lot of really good teams that they have played. They have won in many different ways. They can come from behind and beat you. They can win ugly. They can win shootouts. This is a team that is well coached, led by Amir Durahim, and what he has done in year one here in Tampa is just amazing. The buzz that the Tampa community has swarmed around this team is just so exciting. And I'm really excited to share this all with you here on this channel. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. This is all source of your best source of college basketball comes here. And I'm going to give my bracketology. Michael gave his on Friday. So I am going to give mine, and I'm going to give my own spin on it. So we're going to start off with the bubble watch. I always do a bubble watch here. My last four buys, last four in, first four out, and next four out. We're gonna start off with my last four buys. I got Mississippi State, Seton Hall, Colorado State, and Colorado. My last four in, I got New Mexico, Wake Forest, Utah, and Memphis. My first four out, I got Villanova, Michigan State, Pittsburgh, and Providence. And then my next four out, I got Drake, St. John's, Kansas State, and Oregon. So let's go with these first four bubble games in Dayton. So we got New Mexico and Wake Forest, which should be a great matchup. I love New Mexico's guard play, their experience. And this Wake Forest team, I do love their starting five. Hunter Salas is one of my favorite players in the country. But I'm going to go with New Mexico over Wake Forest in this matchup. So give me New Mexico in this first four playing game. Then we got Kansas City and Central Connecticut State. Kansas State out of the Summit League, Central Connecticut State out of the NEC. But I think the Kansas City Kangaroos are going to win this game. Give me Kansas City over Central Connecticut. Next, we got Utah and Memphis. Fun matchup here in this other bubble matchup. And I'm going to go with Memphis over Utah. Memphis, what they did today against UAB was really, really impressive. They were down 20 in the first half. They came back to win by 19, which is impressive. This Memphis team is very talented, so I got them over Utah. And Utah's very inconsistent, and they really can't win away from home. So Rider and Texas Southern, I'm gonna go with Texas Southern over Rider here. So Texas Southern out of the SWAC, Rider out of the Metro Atlantic. I'm gonna go with the Tigers of Texas Southern. So my playing matchups are set, and we're gonna go with the top left corner, which is where my number one overall seed, the Houston Cougars, are. They're the top team in the Big 12, which is the best conference in college basketball. They are in the South region. So it'll be Houston versus Texas Southern in an inner city showdown here in the first round. But Houston is the better team by a mile, so give me Houston. Next, we got Boise State and Virginia in this 8-9 matchup. Boise State, they're playing some good basketball right now. They have a talented roster that plays a lot. I mean, you got Max Rice, you got Tyson Degenhart, lots of talented players on this roster with a ton of experience, and they will play hard. And Virginia, not very good offensively. The Tony Bennett teams are very good defensively. They play slow, and they don't make many mistakes. But I gotta go with Boise State. They're just more talented, and Virginia might not even score 60 points in this game. Give me Boise State. Then we got Clemson and Indiana State, and in this 5 versus 12 matchup, Clemson, they have good players. I'm just telling you that this team is a little overseeded in my opinion, even though the committee likes this team because they did have a very good non-conference, and they do have a win at Chapel Hill. PJ Hall is a great player. Ian Shefflin, they do have a lot of size, which could give a team like Indiana State some problems, especially on the glass. but I love Indiana State's guard play with Isaiah Swope, Ryan Conwell, and one of my favorite players in the country, Robbie Avila, on the interior. Give me Indiana State over Clemson in this upset. Next, we got Alabama and McNeese State, and Will Wade has done an amazing job with this McNeese team. They beat Michigan on the road, which is their best win, I would say. And Alabama, very good offense. They average over 90 points per game. And McNeese is one of the best defenses in the country, fourth in the country in points allowed, 61 points per game. Alabama, 343rd in defense. They allow 79 points per game. And this is where a game where if Alabama goes cold, and credit to McNeese State's defense, and if Shahada Wells and Christian Shoemake can get enough buckets, give me McNeese State over Alabama in this upset. We got Wisconsin in the 6th seed against New Mexico, who I have beating Wake Forest in the playing game in Dayton. But I got New Mexico upsetting Wisconsin. Wisconsin is not very good, even though they are a 6th seed, they are overseeded. The last couple years, there have been a 6th seed with at least 12 or 13 losses, and that is this year's Wisconsin team. They're just not as talented as New Mexico. New Mexico can beat this team by double digits. So give me New Mexico. Next, we got Baylor and Louisiana Tech, and I'm going to go with Baylor over Louisiana Tech. I just think that they're more experienced, that they're more talented, and they're better coached. So give me Baylor over Louisiana Tech. Northwestern and Mississippi State. I think this is a game where this one could go either way, and I'm a big fan of Boo Buie. He's one of my favorite players, and he's built for moments in March like this. And I just am a little concerned with their health. Ty Berry is out for the season, and he's one of their best shooters. And they have been without Ryan Langborg for at least the last couple of games, who they brought over from Princeton to add backcourt depth and help out Boo Buie. But I love Mississippi State team. Chris Jans has done a great job. Tolu Smith is a stud on the interior. But Northwestern has faced their fair share of big men already this year with Zach Edey, and they've done it. They let him get his, but they've done a great job against teams like that with a very good big man. So I gotta go with Northwestern over Mississippi State. So give me the Wildcats. Then we got Marquette and Long Beach State. This could be a fun one. The concern is the health of Tyler Kolek. If he's good to go, I think Marquette wins this game. If he is not good to go, and if Oso Ighodaro is not good to go, this is concerning. I gotta go with the upset in Long Beach State because the 15th seed has won each of the last 3 years, and they've won 2 games each of the last 3 years, not just one. So I gotta go with Marcus Sahonis. He is back from injury, which is a great sign for the Beach, and I think they can pull this upset over Marquette. So next we got Houston and Boise State. I'm gonna go with Houston over Boise. So that defense is one of the best, if not the best in the entire country. 55 points per game allowed. And they just make it so difficult for an opposing offense to get clean looks and easy baskets. Indiana State and McNeese State, a very good offense versus a very good defense. And I'm going to go with Robbie Avila and Indiana State over McNeese. So Indiana State to the Sweet 16. New Mexico and Baylor. And I think I'm very tempted to pick New Mexico to beat Baylor. But this Baylor team is very talented with Jacoby Walter and Eve Misi. It's a very talented freshman. And then you have Ray J. Dennis running the point. I got to go with Baylor over New Mexico. Even though I want to pick New Mexico to go around further, but I just can't against Baylor. Northwestern and Long Beach State. I'm gonna go with Boo Buie and Northwestern. This is a guy that's gonna really show out on the big stage like he has done numerous times in his collegiate career. So give me Northwestern to the Sweet 16. Houston and Indiana State, and I'm gonna go with Houston over Indiana State. This is where the Cinderella run ends for the Sycamores. So give me Houston. Baylor and Northwestern, fun matchup. Boo Buie can really make things interesting here, but I'm gonna go with Baylor over Northwestern. So give me Houston and Baylor in the Elite Eight, a fun matchup that we had last week, I think, where they went to overtime down in Waco. What a game that was! Arguably one of the games of the year. but I'm gonna go with the Houston Cougars beating Baylor again. So I'm gonna have them go to the Final Four. Next, we're gonna go to the East region, which is where the defending champions, the UConn Huskies, are, and they will face this playing game of Kansas City and Central Connecticut State, but I have Kansas City beating Central Connecticut State. So I have UConn over Kansas City here, and they'll win pretty convincingly. Dayton and Nebraska. Dayton, I think they got exposed against Loyola Chicago. Foul trouble, lack of depth. Even though Deron Holmes is an absolute monster, Nebraska is really improved. They have a lot of talent on this team, and yes, they have struggled away from home, but they do have good wins like Kansas State, Indiana. But they are capable of winning this kind of game, so I gotta go with Nebraska over Dayton. Next, we got BYU and Grand Canyon. Should be a fun matchup that should feature a lot of points, lots of three shot in this game. BYU, one of the nation's leaders in 3-point mix and 3-point attempts as a team. And Grand Canyon, Bryce Drew has done an amazing job with this program, and they got a lot of talent with Gabe McLaughlin, Rashawn Harrison, Ty, Grant Foster, to just name a few. But I gotta go with BYU over Grand Canyon in this game. Auburn and Princeton, and this is a Tiger battle, and I like this matchup for both teams. Auburn, they are 1-7 in quad one games, which is a shocking statistic for how much the computer rankings love this team. And I'm gonna pick the Princeton Tigers out of the Ivy League. They only have 3 losses on the year, and they've made the Sweet 16 last year as a 15 seed. They bring back most of their guys from last year. They did lose Tosin Ebawam, and they did lose Brian Langford to Northwestern, but Xavier Lee, Caden Pierce, they got a lot of talent still on that team. So I gotta go with Princeton over Auburn in this upset. And then Texas Tech and South Florida, one of the more intriguing first round matchups. Texas Tech has had a great year under Grant McCasland, year 1 in Lubbock. And South Florida, year 1 in Tampa under Amir Abdur-Rahim. She's done an amazing job as well. South Florida's won 14 in a row, the hottest team in the country, and they're going to win against Texas Tech here. So give me South Florida, give me Chris Youngblood, Selton Miguel, Cason Pryor, and the Bulls to pull the upset over Texas Tech in the 6-11 game. Duke and High Point, this is a tough one. I think Duke can win this game, just based on pure talent. But High Point's got some guys that can hoop, man. They got Duke Miles. They got Kamani Hamilton. It's like a High Point team that can really score a lot, man. And they can make things really interesting in the Battle of North Carolina here. And I have to have a feeling that there could be an upset here. I'm gonna go with the High Point Panthers over Duke in the first round. And then we got Nevada and Seton Hall. And Nevada is on a little bit of a heater here. They've won 6 in a row. They're doing a great job. Jared Lucas is a fantastic player. He had a huge shot against Colorado State from over half court. I mean, Keenan Blackshear has missed the last couple games for Nevada, but when he's back healthy, this team is scary. Seton Hall, Kadari Richmond's a great player. They have gotten blown out a couple of times recently, including one today against UConn. But I gotta go with the Wolfpack of Nevada over Seton Hall. Iowa State and Weber State, interesting matchup here. Iowa State is one of the best defenses in the country, 7th in points allowed at 61 points per game allowed. But they're also one of the best of turning opponents over. They're 3rd in the entire country, forcing 18 turnovers a game. Only UTEP and FIU force more turnovers per game than Iowa State does. And Weber State, the Big Sky, they have a very, very good player in Dylan Jones, who could be a potential NBA draft pick. He is definitely going to be the Big Sky Player of the Year. But I got Iowa State winning this game because I don't trust anybody else outside of Dylan Jones in this game. And we got UConn and Nebraska. As much as I want to pick Nebraska and the defending champion curse over the last 6 years, I'm going with UConn over Nebraska. I just think they're too good to lose in the first weekend. BYU and Princeton, interesting matchup here. Princeton team that leads the country in fewest turnovers per game. They really take good care of the basketball, like all Princeton teams do. They're very disciplined. But I got BYU. I just think they're better and more talented. They hit threes, and I just think the threes will fall in this game. So give me BYU. Next, we got South Florida and High Point, 11 versus 14 matchup, which could be very interesting. But I'm gonna go with South Florida over High Point, and that run continues. I just think that they're the better team over High Point. Next, we got Nevada and Iowa State. And I'm gonna go with Iowa State. I just think that Iowa State will force enough turnovers and score enough transition points to win this game. UConn and BYU. We're gonna go with UConn over BYU. And I just think that if they struggle, the Cougars struggle from the 3-point line, I just think UConn's gonna run them out the building. Next, we got South Florida and Iowa State. And I'm tempted to pick South Florida here, but I just think Iowa State is just too good defensively. And I think they'll force enough turnovers and win this game. UConn and Iowa State. And something has to give here. UConn is a fantastic, well-balanced offense. They got size, they got skill. And then this Iowa State defense is one of the nastiest units to play against. And I'm going to go with the mini upset. I'm going with Iowa State over UConn to make the Final Four. So that's the second Big 12 team in the Final Four. Next, we got Purdue and Little Rock in the round of 64. And remember, 8 years ago, Chris Beard led Little Rock to an upset of Purdue. But that was a 5 versus 12. This is a 1 versus 16. And I am very, very tempted to pick this upset. And I want to. And I feel like I'm going to pull the trigger. Because Purdue usually chokes in the month of March under Matt Painter. They have never made a Final Four. I'm going to go with Little Rock over Purdue. I'm calling the upset right now. Little Rock has won 9 in a row. It's one of the higher teams in the country. They only play 7 guys, but they're going to switch things up. They can apply pressure on these Purdue guards. And I think Mikal Mitchell can hold his own against Zach Edey in this matchup. Give me Little Rock in a 16-1 upset in this matchup. Oklahoma and Florida Atlantic. And I'm going to go with Florida Atlantic over Oklahoma. I know OU hung tough with Houston on Saturday, but I'm going to go with the Owls and their experience in this tournament with John L. Davis, Elijah Martin, and that guard play. And I think Vlad Golden can have himself a good game against this Oklahoma team. So give me Florida Atlantic. San Diego State and James Madison should be a fun matchup here. A very good offense in JMU, a very good defense in San Diego State, but I'm going to go with the Aztecs. Even though I love this JMU team, I got to go with San Diego State and their toughness. Kentucky and Charleston, this is an interesting one. Kentucky does not play a lick of defense. They're just as bad as Alabama is. They're 342nd in defense. And Charleston, I love the Charleston team from last year more than this year. And Charleston last year had a tough matchup against the national runner-up in San Diego State. I don't think they beat Kentucky. I don't think they're good enough to beat Kentucky in a track meet. So give me Kentucky. Florida and Colorado in the 6 versus 11. I'm going to go with the Colorado Buffaloes in this game. I just think that KJ Simpson, Tristan Silva, and Eddie Lampkin and company can pull off a win here. And Kobe Williams, if Cody Williams is healthy, this adds another scoring threat to this Buffalo team that can make them dangerous. So I got Colorado beating Florida. And Kansas and Vermont, I'm going to go with Kansas. Kevin McCullar's back, which is a great sign. Hunter Dickinson's a stud. I'm going to go with the Jayhawks over Vermont. Washington State and Colorado State. Washington State's one of the more intriguing stories of this whole college basketball season. They were picked 10th in the Pac-12. Kyle Smith's done an amazing job. They swept Arizona this year. They're second in the Pac-12 right now. They have good guard play with Wells and Bryce. And then you also have Isaac Jones, who brought in from Idaho, and he's been a very good piece to this team. And Colorado State has great guard play with Isaiah Stevens, one of the best point guards in the entire country. But I'm going to go with WazU over Colorado State. Next, we got North Carolina and Youngstown State In a 2 versus 15, I'm gonna go with the Tar Heels. Even though Youngstown State, they can score a little bit, but I don't think we can stop North Carolina enough times. Then we got Little Rock and Florida Atlantic. I'm gonna go with the Owls here. I got Florida Atlantic over Little Rock. I don't see a 16 seed going to a Sweet 16, even though we've seen multiple 15 seeds go to a Sweet 16, but just not this case here. I'm going with the Owls here in the Sweet 16. San Diego State and Kentucky, I want to see this rematch again, as much as anybody from last year's Final Four, where Lamont Butler hit that buzzer beater. But I don't think San Diego State can get by this Kentucky team. So give me Kentucky and that high-powered offense. Colorado and Kansas. Look, I want to pick a good upset here and a good Cinderella run. I'm gonna go with the Colorado Buffaloes over Kansas. Yep, I'm picking Colorado to upset Kansas and make it to the Sweet 16. Especially if Cody Williams is there, KJ Simpson, like I said, I think Eddie Lamb can hold his own against Hunter Dickinson, but he has to avoid foul trouble for that to happen. I think he can. So give me the Colorado Buffaloes to the Sweet 16. Washington State and North Carolina, and call me crazy, but I'm gonna go with Washington State. I think they beat North Carolina. I just feel like this is a talented roster of a team with nothing to lose against a Carolina team that sometimes struggles in pick and roll defense, and I think Washington State can beat them. So I'm gonna go. We have Florida Atlantic and Kentucky. I'm going with Kentucky over Florida Atlantic. Yep, and then I have Colorado, Washington State rematch the Pac-12 matchup. I'm gonna go with Washington State over Colorado. I think this is where it ends for the Buffs. So I got Kentucky and Washington State in the Elite Eight, and I'm gonna go with Kentucky over Wazoo in the Elite Eight and go to the Final Four. And then my other region in the West region, Arizona against Norfolk State in the 1 versus 16. I don't trust Tommy Lloyd, but I do trust him enough to beat Norfolk State here and move on to the round of 32. Texas and Gonzaga in the 8-9. Texas, they do have some good playmakers. Dylan Dessou, Tyrese Hunter, Max Asmus, they brought in from Oral Roberts. But I love Gonzaga. They're playing well right now. And they dominated a very good St. Mary's team in Moraga just the other night. So I'm gonna go with Gonzaga here over Texas. South Carolina and Sanford. This is a tough one. Because South Carolina is one of my favorite feel-good stories of the entire country. Lamont Paris has done an amazing job with a team that was projected dead last in the SEC. And Sanford's been great all year as well. Sanford can provide a lot of problems for a higher seed. They have a ton of depth. They play very fast. They press. They shoot a lot of threes. They hit a lot of threes. They shoot 40% as a team from the 3-point line, which is a recipe for a team that could pull an upset or two in the month of March. And that is where I am going to have them. Sanford upset South Carolina in the round of 64. Illinois against Akron in the 4 versus 13. Little John Gross revenge game. The coach of the Zips right now used to coach at Illinois, and Illinois is one of the best offenses that I've seen in a long time. They've done a great job, especially in recent games. Marcus Thomas has done a fantastic job coming over from Southern Illinois. Terrence Shannon's back. Coleman Hawkins can put the ball in the bucket as well. And I think Enrique Freeman for Akron, the Nations League rebounder, he gets a ton of double-doubles, averages a double-double. And I just don't think that Akron's guard plays good enough. Give me Illinois. Next, we got St. Mary's against Utah and Memphis. Sorry, Utah and Memphis. And I have Memphis beating Utah. And I also have them beating St. Mary's as well. I mean, I love this Memphis team. Even though they have had some struggles in the middle of American Conference play, they're starting to turn it on right now. And especially with David Jones and Javon Quinn leading the charge as experienced seniors. I think they beat St. Mary's in this round of 64 match. Creighton Colgate. I'm gonna go with Creighton over Colgate. I just think that I don't think they can stop Brian Kalkbrenner inside. So Utah State and TCU, fun matchup. Utah State's done a great job this year with a completely new roster, and they have 0 returning players from last season. And Danny Sprinkle has done an amazing job with this team. Great Osabor has done an amazing job as well, going from a role player to a star player in a span of 1 year. And then TCU, they have talent. Jameer Nelson Jr., they brought him from Delaware. I love Jamie Dixon as much as anybody. And they have a lot of talent and a lot of returning players. So I gotta go with TCU over Utah State. Next, we got Tennessee and Stetson out of the Atlantic Sun. Tennessee, I think they have the National Player of the Year, and that's Dalton Knecht. And they're very tough defensively. They will rebound. They will defend. And they got some shooters as well. Zakai Ziegler, Santiago Vescovi. And Jonas Adu has really improved his offensive game. And he's an elite rim protector. Give me Tennessee over Stetson. But I gotta shout out Stetson, man. Jalen Blackman is a really, really good player. And he is the leading scorer in the Atlantic Sun Conference. But I just don't think they're good enough to beat Tennessee. Arizona and Gonzaga sets up a little revenge game, a little good storyline, with Arizona's head coach Tommy Lloyd being a Mark Few assistant for many years. And Omar Ball started his career at Gonzaga, did not get a lot of playing time, came with Tommy Lloyd to Tucson to play for Arizona. A little revenge game, but I got Gonzaga upsetting Arizona here in this matchup. And I don't trust Tommy Lloyd in March. He has not done enough to impress me to say I'm gonna pick you to go far again. You messed me up twice in the past 2 years, and I'm not falling for that again. So give me Gonzaga upsetting Arizona. Stanford and Illinois. This is a team that can really cause some problems. Like I said, Stanford, they will play really hard, but I got Illinois winning this game over Stanford. Utah and Memphis. I got Memphis in that playing game that have them upsetting St. Mary's, but I don't think they upset Creighton because I don't trust Penny Hardaway. So give me Creighton. TCU and Tennessee. I'm gonna go with the Vols. I think Tennessee. This is Rick Barnes' best team. I think I have the most trust in, because I usually don't trust Rick Barnes, but I do trust Dalton Knecht. Give me Tennessee. Gonzaga and Illinois. I'm gonna go with Illinois over Gonzaga here, and I just feel like Illinois got more firepower and more depth than Gonzaga does. And then Tennessee and Creighton, I'm gonna go with Tennessee. I think Tennessee beats Creighton here in this Sweet 16 matchup, and they'll face Illinois in the Elite Eight. And I'm gonna go with Tennessee over Illinois here. For my final four, we got two SEC teams, two Big 12 teams. We got Houston and Tennessee, Iowa State and Kentucky. And then my first matchup, we got Houston and Tennessee. I'm gonna pick the Tennessee Volunteers to beat Houston and go to the Final Four. And then we have to the championship game. Then we have Iowa State and Kentucky, and I'm gonna pick Iowa State over Kentucky. So my national championship is Tennessee and Iowa State, and my national champion for March 3rd is Tennessee Volunteers. So hopefully you all like what you've seen. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and for all those at the Pokeball channel, this is Dan Spielvogel signing off.